Thanks for joining us on the ASTV Sportscast with Executive Director, Mr. Jared Ladobruk. Jared, I see you wearing a turtleneck or a little bit of a long sleeve, it looks. Were you out in the golf course this morning?
No, I wish. Things are shut down here. The weather would allow us to play right now, but no, it's the end of the season for us, unfortunately.
So is anybody, I haven't driven by the canoe club. Usually that's the last one that kind of stays open. Or I'm thinking golfers might be around this weekend.
So unfortunately, due to the restrictions, in anything inside the city can't be open. But I do believe that there was one or two in and around the province that kept themselves open outside of the Winnipeg metro region.
Okay.
So that's certainly, it's late. I haven't remembered any golf being played in November for a long time. So
let's not foreshadow the fact that this is going to be a late spring start, like a late May or something. I don't want to jinx it, but maybe I just did.
No. Let's keep our fingers crossed for an early 2021.
Absolutely. So even with all of the restrictions that happened, we still weren't able to have golf courses open in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so that changed as of when we went to red on Monday.
Okay.
That closed all indoor and outdoor recreation. I guess if you could look at it, I mean, the golf season for the most part had come and gone for us. Anyone that would have been open, it would have been, just sort of the last kick at it. But we got for the most part a full season in, so we have to be very, very thankful for that, and glad that we were able to make it through.
It's one of those sports, I mean, where you have just, I guess, clubhouse activity would be the only indoor really contact. But last time I checked, we have a really great golf season, as short as it is, but I saw more people take advantage of it this year than any. Is that because of just the limited activities and recreational sports available, or is it, giving that opportunity just to say, hey, you know what, we haven't tried golf, or it's an activity where you and the spouse or you and the boys or the girls can get out and just experience some fresh air, a little bit of competition camaraderie that you wouldn't normally do because usually you'd be playing hockey or volleyball or basketball, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, the options were limited this year. Golf was one of those few activities that, for all the reasons you just mentioned, it was social, it was outdoors, it was a sport, it was readily available. There's so many golf courses in and around our province. The barriers to entry are fairly low. There's different access points, public, semi-private, private facilities. So there are a lot of options for golf, and we saw it. We saw the numbers didn't lie. Recently read the city of Winnipeg had a tremendous year with their rounds up and around in the province everywhere. Tee sheets were full. I mean, getting a tee time was you could you could almost sell your tee time on the side and probably make a few dollars if you really wanted to. That's how busy it was. So it was good. It was good that, all things considered, that golf provided people with an outlet. For those that are the diehards, it was there, and for those that were looking for something new that didn't have those outside, we'll call them distractions, right? Cottage, kids sports, those things that were either slow to start up or didn't happen at all. Golf was well positioned to take those people and provide them, with those outlets. So, it was a great summer for it.
No doubt. And the ones that took the most advantage, we're going to talk about now. We have to give recognition to the players of the year because, I mean, we just had that announcement this past couple of days, Jared. So fill us in on who the victors were.
Yeah, so every year we host a celebration of golf, amateur golf in our province, where we recognize all of our past champions. We recognize everyone involved, our volunteers. They really are the backbone of our association, and it all culminates with the announcement of our golfers of the year. So Neil Sony and of the St. Charles Country Club, and Bobby Ewell of the Shiloh Golf and Country Club. So Neil was our male amateur golfer of the year, just finishing up his junior career, his final year as a junior. He had a fine season, winning our junior men's championship and finishing second in the men's amateur championship. And then Bobby was our female golfer of the year. She won the women's match play championship early, which was our first event of the year, and then finished second in the ladies amateur. So really fortunate that we were able to recognize them for their past accomplishments this season. They played great all year long. We had some really fantastic golfers that were nominated this year. And then normally we would look at the national championships as part of their success this year. And unfortunately, just because those were canceled, Bobby and Neil didn't have a chance to represent the province in national competition, but we were still able to recognize them for their great season this past year, and it was a big announcement for us.
Absolutely, no big deals. I mean, we got to take care of those that are playing good golf. How does
Yeah.
that award? How does that award awarded?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we're fortunate to have a panel of former champions, Manitoba amateur and women's champion, Jill Hardy and Adam Spears, very successful amateur careers here in our province, and then media perspective. Clayton Drieger from CFAM 950 Radio, and Ken Weeb, contributor to Sportsnet.ca. So what we do is we look at the results from the past season, and the committee then votes on who they feel was the top player based on their play. So yeah, it's a really good group that we can that provides us with their expertise and their insight, and then we award. We just awarded it yesterday on Wednesday, so we had to do it creatively. We did it online. We pulled it off. I think we were able to keep it a secret, and but at least we tried our best to recognize it and provide the acknowledgement for their past year.
So virtually, the award was mentioned yesterday. What do the recipients receive?
So they would receive a very a nice custom framed image that was captured of themselves. We're very lucky, Golf Manitoba, to have some fantastic volunteer photographers that really provide just a tremendous amount of volume of photos that happen throughout the course of the season, and we would present that traditionally to them at the awards banquet. So we unveiled it online on our Twitter account yesterday, and so everyone was surprised at 3:00 in the afternoon yesterday. So it was pretty cool.
I think of the glimpses of Jack holding his putter up in the air at Augusta, which is happening this weekend, and Tiger fist pumping and celebrating after that amazing roll on 16, I think it was, to Arnie with the Stinger style. Some of these photos will be put up in their rec room, and they can go back and say, yeah, I remember that day. I remember what's going on. I haven't had one of those golf memories yet, so I'm hopefully going to have one of those sooner or later. I'm still waiting for my one, but we'll get it there eventually, Jared. Now the season is over. I mean, I know, I'm waiting. The season's over. What should golfers be doing physically, but also with the maintenance of their clubs in the off season? What should they be looking for? Obviously, cleaning the clubs is a good idea. Checking grips, perhaps. What other things should golfers be doing now, knowing that some of these snowbirds may not be traveling south this year? They may be doing other activities to try to keep themselves busy within the golf industry.
Yeah, that's a great question. Now's a good time of the year to take stock of your inventory. Obviously, clean them, right? Put them away, put them to bed. Regrips. Golfers probably don't regrip their clubs as often as they should. Depending on how much you play, once a year, for sure. You think of the just the wear and tear on them. But if you can't, if you're looking for a more economical solution, some dish soap, a light brush, give them a good scrub with some warm water, rinse them down, let them dry, and they'll maybe get a little more life out of them. So that's a good thing to do. And then if you're looking for potentially for some new gear, now is the time maybe to to maybe look at that. Recommendation always would be to get fit, for sure. That's obviously hard this time of year. So if you have your eye on something, maybe look at when the fitting season opens up again in the new year. But it's kind of an exciting time because you get to see what you can add to your bag for the coming year to hopefully get you a few extra yards.
Exactly. How many drivers can you legally have in your bag, Jared?
Well, you could. I mean, 14 clubs is the limit, so you can have as many of whatever you want in there. We've seen Phil Mickelson carry a couple of drivers in a bag, which is certainly a different approach. But 14 clubs is the max, so
right.
I should say not minimum, but the max. So whatever that makeup looks like, that's entirely up to you, as long as it's conforming with the rules of golf.
Of course, yeah. I've been tinkering with my driver the last year, and I finally figured it out. I think the technology of hitting a ball has changed drastically in a decade. from compression to lie to offsets to fades and draws. From a professional standpoint, is it more important to have the gear work with your swing or change your gear based on your swing?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, ideally, you would want to make if you're struggling, the first thing to do is, if you can, go see one of our fantastic PGA of Canada professionals here in our province for a lesson, for a tune-up. That's a big part of what they do, and they're going to provide that expertise and insight as to how can you improve your game. And that's a process, but certainly getting fit for the right equipment. Length of equipment, the length of the gear, your golf clubs, the lie angle, that's how the club sits in relation to the turf when you're addressing it. The shaft flex is a big one. It's nice to see when equipment gets handed down to young people, but one of the worst things you can do for a young person is to cut that adult club down and then give it to the young person, because it just becomes way too stiff and it ingrains a lot of poor swing habits. So make sure you're getting fit for the right gear for your swing speed, for the way that you move at it at the golf ball, and that's certainly going to provide some help for you making good contact and hitting the ball the way it should be hit.
It's unprecedented times. We had the schedule of the PGA change drastically, Jared. This weekend, as Jim Nance would say, or Mike Tirico, it's unlike any other. The Masters coming up next weekend. Who are you picking?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There's so many good players that are, obviously in that event. I don't know what the size of the field, 90, 100 players, and they all can play. It'll be a different atmosphere at Augusta. I've never seen it in November. So the golf course, from what I've heard, will play a little bit differently. But who to pick? I mean, where do you start? Look at some of the players that have been trending lately. Patrick Cantlay has had a nice last couple of weeks. Jon Rahm.
He's not a guy on my board, Jared. You just took one off my non-top tens. Good for you.
Yeah. Jon Rahm. I mean, look at the usual suspects right now. But look, Tiger's in the field. I mean, is he going to win? I don't know. That's a long shot, but I mean, he's fun to watch there. Hopefully he has a good week. But just to be able to play the event, it was canceled in April for obvious reasons, and here we are. It's going to look substantially different with no fans. The fans really make that event. I mean, to hear the roars when you're watching a shot and something exciting happened. I mean, that's sort of the atmosphere and the lure of the event. So that'll obviously be missed out, but nonetheless, we'll see a Masters champ crowned in next weekend in the middle of November. So a nice treat, considering that we're not watching any hockey right now. So
it is. It's no basketball, no hockey, no baseball. Obviously, there'll be one day of confusion because it'll have NFL week, I guess 9 or 10, whatever. But that's the only thing that's going to cause a bit of conflict. The only other thing that provides me a conflict, Jared, is my question. I'm more built like Bryson, less like Fowler. Do I make all my clubs the same length?
Well, it goes to show that there's more than one way to play the game, right? And I haven't really looked into the science behind it. He's obviously worked out. He's made the adjustments to play by that setup with his gear. Look, I mean, if you can find something that works for you, just because it's non-traditional, does it really matter? I mean, if it helps you get the ball around the golf course, if it's more fun, if you score better, then all the power to you in that search. So I think we all sort of look for ways to improve our game, to try and allow us to play better and to have more fun. So whatever that looks like, it just goes to show, and he's a perfect case of it. He's non-traditional. He's breaking down new barriers, and he's being criticized for it, which I think is potentially not the right thing. But that's how things change, right? People push the limits, and he's done a great job of it.
He has pushed the limits. That whatever measurement of his stick is, it looks so small in his hands compared to the size of him, because it looks like he just manhandles that ball. I feel like he almost has the yips every time he hits the club face down, or the club down on the ground before he really bivouacs it. And it's just like 410 yards, I think, is what he cleared on a driving range last week, which was, I don't even drive that far half the day, and it's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's, he's putting athleticism into golf, and it has been for a number of years. But it's no secret that the further you hit the ball straighter. Let's put those two together.
Yeah,
there's a better chance that you're gonna score, than the next person that can't hit it as far. I mean, you still have to putt the ball. That will never change. So that's the great equalizer, and that's why some players that don't hit it as far, they need to rely and lean upon those parts of their game to find success. But fun to watch. People like seeing the boomer out there, and hopefully he gives us something to talk about next week, which I'm sure he will.
I'm sure he will. Like you said, golf is fun. It's only an adventure when you stray away from the fairways and the easy straight shot. I'll never forget Shane Dick from Pine Ridge explaining to me, you can hit the ball as far as you want at the ridge, but within 50 yards, you got to be pretty darn precise and accurate because it's slippery like the top of a car. And you got to be good at what you do within 50.
Isn't that what makes it a great sport? Is it tests so many different aspects of your athleticism. To hit it far, but then you have to also hit that little that tricky downhill side hill putt. It completely is two different ends of the spectrum, and that's why we all love to play it.
We love the game of golf. We won't even get into the mental aspect of it, Jared, because that's a whole different discussion for a whole nother time. Jared,
how much time do you have? Yeah.
Executive Director with Golf Manitoba with the Player of the Years. Congratulations to the male and female amateur winners. Take care of your clubs. Take care of yourselves in the off season. That's the message today. Don't let yourselves become a couch potato. I don't think that's a sport. Find some room in the garage. Maybe go hit up your pro at the local golf club or golf course, and get yourself in shape so you can surprise people. Put your best shot forward come April and May. Thanks, Jared, for joining us here on Amateur Sports TV.
Thanks for having me, as always.
Always good to catch up with you. Look forward to a good early golf season next year. As always, thank you for joining me, Jared. We'll see you next month, perhaps. If not, have a great rest of the year, and we'll talk to you in the new year.
You too. Take care.
Right on.